Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, police in East El Paso investigate a fatal shooting that killed one person and left 6 others hurt.
New details this afternoon on a suspected serial killer in Austin after authorities searched a field in Pflugerville.
And severe storms and tornadoes left a trail of destruction in Illinois this week.
Well, for the Crossroads, the heat continues, and folks, you're going to have to get used to it. This is another 10 days of this, and maybe even further. We've got then August to deal with. I wish I had better news, but that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So stay tuned. We'll have more coming up in a moment.
5 million children across 8 states might miss out on food assistance if state leaders don't act by Friday. You're watching 25 News Now at 5. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. I'm James Munoz.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
A shooting in East El Paso left 6 people hurt and 1 person dead just after midnight Thursday. KVIA reports police responded to an argument taking place at a bar. It moved into the parking lot where multiple shots rang out. The shooting is under investigation. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office is investigating 2 vehicle break-ins. The break-in happened Wednesday in the south part of Edna. The vehicle description is this blue, newer model Nissan small SUV. Authorities say this may be part of other incidents. If you can help, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office wants to hear from you. Authorities in Jackson County have not released the name of a jailer arrested Wednesday. He's accused of having an improper relationship with an inmate. The Texas Rangers are investigating. The county employee faces charges of violating the civil rights of a person in custody and improper sexual activity with a person in custody. Bond was set at $75,000. Jackson County Sheriff Kelly Janicka released this statement on social media. I will continue to hold the men and women who work for you to the highest standards. I will not tolerate any willful criminal conduct by anyone. 25 News Now has requested the arrest warrant, the mugshot, and the name of that employee arrested. Law enforcement officers say fentanyl is deadly and the issues caused by the drug are going to get worse before they get better. 25
News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel joins us now with a preview of a 25 News Now Extra. Adam.
That's right, James and Karina. So one of the most dangerous aspects of fentanyl that it's being added to many popular drugs, often to unsuspecting users. In many cases, users will buy what they think is Xanax, Percocet, or Adderall, popular street drugs, and it's a pill that looks like those drugs, but in reality, it's fentanyl pill in disguise. These counterfeit pills are extremely hard to tell, fact from fiction, even stumping some of the experts.
I've been a pharmacist for 40 years and I can't tell the difference. I know that the DEA guys tell me they can't tell the difference. And looking at a tablet, that's a game we play. Is this real or is this fake? It's not, you're not able to tell.
The Texas Department of State Health Services reports that since 2019, fentanyl-related deaths among Texans have increased more than 500%. Fentanyl is a cheap drug to make, so that's why so many drug cartels around the world have turned to fentanyl production. That's why knowledge and understanding of this deadly drug is key. James, Karina, back to you.
Adam, thank you. The Texas Department of State Health Services reports 3 cases of skunks infected with rabies in Lavaca County this year. The Lavaca County Today reports county commissioners were told the rabid skunk cases in Victoria County have been spilling over into Lavaca County. Victoria County has reported 10 skunks with rabies this year so far.
All right, time to check in with Chief Meteorologist Mac Perez. Mac, got to jump in the pool.
If they tell you to go jump in the lake, I say, where is the lake? Where is the lake? Let's go. Yes, sir, another hot day over much of the Crossroads, 95 right now. It's actually down from the high temperature of 99 that we had again today. Of course, we're not at records, which is okay, but we're still on the hot side. Coming up, we're going to be talking a little bit about why it's getting so hot, and hope you'll listen in and see if we can figure all this out. All that a little bit later on. Back to you.
Mac, thank you so much. Severe storms, including multiple tornadoes, left a trail of destruction in Illinois this week.
Today, residents are coping with the aftermath.
This is the worst of it, and that is certainly good news for those who live in this tight-knit countryside neighborhood, where a fast-moving tornado sent residents scrambling into their basements this evening.
When the wind kicked up really hard and really fast, and it was like, basement now, grab the dog, let's go. And it wasn't more than a couple seconds after that it got really crazy.
It was pretty terrifying, but like we've already checked in with everybody and everyone seems to be okay.
A flagpole and debris from the neighbor's garage is now stuck in the Timpey family's 100-plus-year-old tree, which was ripped straight out of the ground.
It really left as quick as it came. It was maybe 10, 20 seconds and it was out of here, and all of this.
At first sight, it is shocking, but upon closer inspection, most of the homes here seem to be largely untouched. There are broken windows for sure, torn siding, damaged roofs. Debbie Taylor's 95-year-old mother lives here.
She's shook up, but she's fine. She was in the house by herself, but she's doing great. Most of the neighbors have lived here like 60 years, a lot of.
There were no reports of anyone getting hurt in that neighborhood. However, a woman whose name or whose home sustained the worst damage was hospitalized for observation.
Austin city leaders have suspended their partnership with the DPS. The decision was announced Wednesday following a traffic stop involving a 10-year-old boy. Tuesday night, a story that aired on a TV station claimed the DPS pointed a gun at a 10-year-old. Video of the incident showed police trying to pull over a car with no plates. Troopers pulled out their guns when a passenger ran into a house and the driver tried getting out of the car. A council member says if the DPS left, public safety would be affected. The partnership, which started in March, led to a decrease in violence and gun crime and led to fewer traffic fatalities and shorter 911 calls. Nearly 5 million children in 8 states, including Texas, could lose some extra funds for food unless state leaders sign up for the Pandemic Electronic Benefits Transfer Program by Friday. PEBT is providing $120 over the summer to families whose children qualify for free or reduced meals or attend schools in low-income areas where students receive free meals. This funding is crucial for families who depend on free or reduced price food programs during the school year.
And this brings us to your viewer poll this afternoon. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, do you rely on food assistance programs over the summer? Yes or no? We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News now at 6. Now, authorities in Austin are working to learn what led to the search of a field possibly connected to a suspected serial killer, Raul Meza Jr.
Wednesday afternoon, several agencies, including the Austin PD and the FBI, searched a field in Pflugerville off FM 1825.
On a hot summer's day, multiple FBI agents were seen carrying boxes from a Pflugerville field to their cars.
This could very well be related to the Jesse Fraga murder.
Criminal defense attorney Ty Cardenas Wittenstein says because the search was in Pflugerville, where Mesa confessed to killing 80-year-old Jesse Fraga back in May, authorities could have been searching for evidence connected to the case.
It could be something that is connected to him that would also prove his guilt in addition to the other evidence. Something else that it could actually be a completely new crime that they're investigating. They could have gotten a tip, especially now that it's national news that he is a serial killer.
What do you think prompted today's search?
The first thing that comes to mind is that they got a tip, the police got a tip about some sort of evidence that is located in that field. And that could be the evidence in any case. However, I am speculating completely that it could be from the latest victim because that murder occurred in Pflugerville.
During a press conference in late May, Austin police say Mesa also admitted to killing Gloria Lofton, who was found strangled back in 2019. Authorities add Mesa could be linked to several other murders and believe they caught him before he could strike again.
I will let you know that Mr. Mesa said he was ready and prepared to kill again, and he was looking forward to it.
As a criminal defense attorney, when you hear that the FBI was out here a part of this search, what do you make of that?
That's huge. The fact that this is already national news, I'm certain the FBI got involved a long time ago, but just the FBI getting involved in any sort of investigation, especially with all the other agencies that were there as well, means that this is a huge deal. This is major evidence that they're looking for.
The House Ethics Committee is reviving its investigation into Republican Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida. They're looking into allegations of sexual misconduct, illicit drug use, and other misconduct. A witness says they've spoken to investigators about possible lobbying violations by Gaetz. The committee is also reaching out to other witnesses. The DOJ says it won't bring charges against Gaetz, but a person familiar with the committee's work says that won't deter its probe. We want to invite you to join us on Twitter, see what we're tweeting and retweeting. Our partners at the Texas Tribune have this article about families of trans children asking a judge to block a law that would prevent minors from accessing many types of transition-related health care. They argue the law, which goes into effect September 1, is discriminatory and violates their parental rights. That article is also on crossroadstoday.com. And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Adam's story there has about 2 hours of extended interviews right there for you to view. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, a jury has found the mass shooter at a Pittsburgh synagogue eligible for the death penalty.
Also ahead, the FDA approves the first over-the-counter birth control pill in the United States. Robert Bowers, the mass shooter at the Pittsburgh synagogue, is eligible for the death penalty as determined by the jury today. This shifts the focus of whether he should be sentenced to death or life in prison. Bowers killed 11 worshipers and wounded 6 others at Pittsburgh's Tree of Life synagogue back in 2018. It was the deadliest attack on Jewish people in the United States. The 50-year-old was found guilty in June of all 63 charges against him. 22 of those counts were capital offenses.
This was an act of anti-Semitism, not an issue of mental illness. This was hatred towards Jews. I want to thank the jury for all of their incredible work. I also hope that the next phase of the trial, which will allow the families of the victims an opportunity to speak, will give them a sense of relief and fulfillment.
The next stage of the trial will hear from survivors and loved ones of the victims who will speak to the lasting impact of this mass shooting rampage. The final stage is set to begin on Monday with opening statements. A Tennessee soccer coach is accused of drugging and raping boys. He has admitted he entered the U.S. illegally. The Franklin Police Department said several videos and pictures of children between the ages of 9 and 17 were found on Camilo Hurtado Campos' phone. Many of the victims were Hispanic. These crimes came to light when a restaurant worker found his cell phone after he left it behind and searched it to find out who it belonged to. The Department of Homeland Security is now involved in the case.
The FDA has approved the first over-the-counter birth control pill. Opill is available without a prescription at drugstores, grocery stores, and online. The manufacturer is determining the price and when it will go on store shelves. The FDA says when used as directed, the daily pill is safe and is more effective than other non-prescription contraceptive methods. During testing, the most common side effect was irregular bleeding, headaches, dizziness, nausea, increased appetite, cramps, or bloating. An estimated 26 million women of reproductive age in the U.S. have uterine fibroids.
These non-cancerous tumors can cause severe pain and have a significant impact on the quality of life.
For Tiffany Miller, heavy menstrual bleeding has always been a problem, but about 5 years ago, she says she started having constant pain and it grew to be unbearable.
I knew something was wrong. I just always had this stabbing pain, specifically on my left side. Sometimes I could barely breathe.
After seeing 2 different Washington, D.C. doctors, Miller says she was told it was likely a gastrointestinal issue, but that diagnosis didn't feel right. After researching her symptoms online, Miller found the Center for Fibroid Care at NYU Langone Health.
I see a lot of women not realizing that they're growing these massive tumors.
Through a pelvic MRI, Dr. Tara Sharazian discovered Miller had 8 uterine fibroids, including one the size of a large grapefruit, pushing on her internal organs. Miller wants children one day, so she opted to have the fibroids removed, which spared her fertility. Sharazian says women need to know they have options for fibroid treatment.
Everything from a medication to reduce her bleeding or reduce the size of the fibroids, to a procedure that can shrink the fibroids in some way, to surgery that can remove the fibroids or remove the uterus, or she can just monitor them.
2 weeks after surgery, Miller was back to doing what she loves. She says she's been pain-free ever since.
If you're having consistent chronic pain, that's your body letting you know that something may be wrong.
For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
Pack the Bus registration underway for children in need of school supplies. You can register to receive supplies online on the Faith Family Church website at myfcc.com/packthebus. Supplies will also be given Saturday, August 5th at the Faith Family location on Mockingbird. For questions about registration, stop by Faith Family Church Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to noon or contact Stephanie Kadingo at 361-573-2484.
And for more on today's news stories in this newscast, come to crossroadstoday.com and read about Hollywood actors joining screenwriters in a combined strike. That's on our homepage.
And of course, the hot weather continues over our area. We got up to 99, but everybody on the other side of Interstate 35 from here all the way to Las Vegas and even, portions of California, over 100 degrees. The low temperature in Phoenix, Phoenix is warm, right? But the low temperature last night in Phoenix was 95 degrees. We'll be talking about why the Earth is getting so hot coming up, so stay tuned. Maybe we can share some information together.
Fentanyl crisis, unmasking the deadly wave. Join 25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel for a 25 News Now Extra tonight at 10 p.m. We focus on the alarming rise of the deadly drug fentanyl.
What you know about fentanyl is probably maybe 10% of the reality.
Fentanyl is easy to make and cheap to get, and it has flooded communities across the United States, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Don't miss this eye-opening extra that could save lives.
Welcome back, everybody. You all know that it's going to be warm, and that's going to happen. Now, the question is, everybody's asking, why is it so warm? And you know why I became a weatherman? Because I've always had my head in the clouds, okay? So this time, I'm going to tell you something, the things that I've studied over the last 30, 40 years. We have a wonderful atmosphere, you see, but the atmosphere runs from the surface only about 12 to 15 miles up. And without that layer of gas there, life would be impossible here. So what's in this stuff that you and I breathe every day? Well, the majority of it, believe it or not, is nitrogen, which is an inert gas, not a big deal. The big part of it is oxygen, which is very important to you and me and little green plants that are growing. Without the exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen, we'd have no vegetation and you and I wouldn't be around. And see this little purple thing here? That's the amount of carbon dioxide that we have in the standard atmosphere. It's a tiny little bit. It's less than 1%. So what's the big deal? Well, because we know that carbon dioxide retains heat, that has been enough carbon dioxide in our atmosphere to make life possible. It made our habitability on our planet possible, and that's why that little layer so thin is so important to us. Carbon dioxide is fundamental to life. There's no denying it. But here's what happens. The sun shines every day. It does one of three things. One, it bounces off the top of the atmosphere. Two, the sunlight goes all the way down toward the earth and warms the earth. And then some of it bounces back up into the atmosphere that we have. Well, what's happening? Since we've now doubled the amount of carbon dioxide in the air, the sunlight cannot bounce out. It stays here, so we're heating up and heating up and heating up. This has been going on for, well, since the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, about 1850. So now the point is that we're getting an accelerating path. Now, here's about, what's that, 1990, right there. I started talking about climate change and global warming right about there. And we only had 300 parts per million. Well, in the last 20 years, we're already up to 425 parts per million. And now you're feeling the effects. Now, this is literally the way it's happening. And this is why we need to do something creative. What could be creative? Well, you and I drive around. Combustion engine shoots out exhaust, and you multiply that by 6 million cars, and what have you got? Okay. The other thing we have is that, of course, we want electricity, of course. But if we burn coal, we get a lot of emissions out of that, and all that just goes in the atmosphere. Remember, that doesn't go to Mars. It stays hanging in the atmosphere. That's the pocket of gas that's around the Earth. And what I like to tell the people is, like, think of a peach. The earth is the real tasty, juicy part, but the atmosphere is the skin that goes around it. And you bruise that skin, and the fruit's not going to be very good for so long. So, what's the forecast? It's hot. It's going to be 98 tomorrow, and it'll stay at about 100 over the weekend. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody that we do have a QR code. It's Crossroads today, but you got to scan that with your cell phone and put it right there. We'll toss it back to James and Karina.
All right, you need your notepad when he comes on, right?
I should have brought my pen in my
Take
pad
notes.
today.
Thank
There's
you so
a
much,
test at
Matt.
the end of the show.
All right, coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we're going to take a look at stocks. Plus, 50 Democrats in Congress want the FEC to address AI in political ads.
Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow up 47 points, the S&P 500 gaining 38 points, and the Nasdaq adding 219 points. Oil up $1.14, closing at $76.89 a barrel. 50 Democrats in Congress are calling on the FEC to crack down on the use of AI in political ads, warning the ads could harm next year's elections. They want the agency's existing law against fraudulent misrepresentation to also include deep fakes, which are videos and images created by AI. Last month, a political ad put out by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' campaign included a deep fake image of former President Donald Trump hugging Dr. Anthony Fauci, which never happened. The nonprofit group Public Citizen also has petitioned the FEC to take action.
A report from the McKinsey Global Institute says the value of office space is plummeting in the era of remote work. The report looked at 9 cities with some of the busiest economies in the world. Among them are New York, San Francisco, and Houston. It predicts they'll see an $800 billion decrease in the worth of office buildings by 2030. As vacancies rise and rents decline, it says 2/3 of workers now have remote or hybrid positions. That structure is likely here to stay.
Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast with Mac. Plus, zookeepers at the El Paso Zoo get creative to keep the animals cool during the heat wave.
Zookeepers at the El Paso Zoo got creative and made ice pops for the animals, like the tortoises. They get frozen berries twice a day. The mountain lions prefer blood popsicles. Most of the exhibits have designated air-conditioned spaces for animals to get some relief. They also have those misters for the animals and for visitors at the zoo. The elephant gets the whole hose.
Yeah, it's like the tiger. Would you like watermelon flavor or would you like blood flavor?
Blood flavored popsicles. Interesting.
Well, folks, I mean, we're laughing because it beats crying, you know.
Well, you want to check on the zoos at the Texas Zoo.
Yes, I'm going to go visit there tomorrow. And we continue looking for ways to try and stay cool. Obviously, the middle part of the day is the worst. We got up to 99 today, the second day in a row, and we're looking for temperatures hovering there all week long. So there's not a lot of change in the forecast. The change is going to have to come when all the governments of the world get together and go, hey, you know, this isn't good. We ought to fix this. And it's very easy to fix.
All right, Mac, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.